Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Davistar experience. Once again, the diddler has been sued. I can't even count how many lawsuits we're up to at this point because it's just kind of like you're playing Pokemon Gold and you're walking through the forest and another Pokemon jumps out at you begging you to catch it. That's just basically like where we're at now with all these damn lawsuits. This idiot done racked up hundreds of lawsuits at this point. Tony Busby is just having a ball with this man, trying to take everything he owns. It's ridiculous at this point. I can't even, you can't even argue about that. I'm not going to get too deep into it because I'm just trying to, you know, give updates when I can. But first, hit my intro.
Life experiences shape who we are, teaching us lessons that no book ever could. Every challenge, success, failure, and unexpected moment adds to our personal growth. The tough times build resilience, while the joyful moments remind us why we keep going. Whether it's traveling to new places, meeting different people, or simply navigating struggles.
There ain't no grave can hold my body down. There ain't no grave can hold my body down.
Many people have their experiences. Welcome to mine.
Hear that trumpet sound? I'm gonna rise right out of the ground. Ain't no grave can hold my
So basically, there we go. Diddy has now turned around and decided he's going to file $100 million lawsuit against NBC Universal. This is a strategy. Don't look at it as anything other than it being simply that, a strategy. Diddy's being sued out his ass for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, right? There's no way Diddy's going to be able to recoup any of this money that he's about to lose in these lawsuits because he's going to lose. You just can't fight all these lawsuits and then just not show up to court. Like he's got to fight them all. So Diddy's getting sued in various courts. A lot of these are civil claims. So basically, these people are going to essentially get pennies on the dollar for what they're suing for. I wouldn't imagine that they'd be suing for tens of millions of dollars. Some of them are out there, some of them definitely had those things happen to them and they're trying to get paid. But the question is, how much are they gonna get paid? Because you got the federal case, which is basically going to be upwards of tens of millions of dollars, right? Here's what he's doing. Here's where the strategy comes into play. Diddy is suing in federal court, right? I mean, Diddy is suing NBC, right? I think it's for defamation. Essentially, what he's suing for is that documentary they came out with, where they're basically saying that, he did X, Y, and Z. They're accusing him of the whole Kim Porter conspiracy. For those that don't know, it's being alleged, and various people have come out and said that they didn't see that they didn't think that Kim Porter's death was no accident. Apparently, what he's suing NBC for is the allegation that he had something to do with Kim Porter's death. And he's citing in his lawsuit with NBC that he's got the coroner's report to fall back on. But if you talk to people like Jaguar Wright, Jaguar Wright even said that something was a little fishy about the autopsy report because they found certain things in her system. You know why I honestly believe Diddy might have a reason for wanting to sue NBC Universal? Is because if somebody raises enough stink, they can reopen that autopsy investigation and it might not go the way Diddy wanted to go. There are some things in that autopsy report that he probably don't want to be looked at or investigated again, because people like Jaguar Wright and other people have been calling for them to reopen her death investigation behind the circumstances that led to Kim Porter's demise. I believe they said she had pneumonia or some respiratory issue that caused her demise, on top of her having the pneumonia, on top of her being sick already for days. I believe they said even while she was sick, Diddy had some red carpet obligations or different obligations he had to do, and Kim Porter went out there looking not very well, and then she went home to Cali and ended up passing away days later behind, whatever. They talked to Diddy. He was there when they rolled up in the coroner's van and they were doing the investigations, and it was a mess. But essentially, what Diddy is suing for is the allegations that he had something to do with Kim Porter's death. And I know there are people in Kim Porter's family that are begging for them to reopen this investigation because they know something ain't right about what happened to her. They know something about her demise is not on the up and up. Hold on, let me look at the comments. Timoni, they aren't going to get much because how much you gonna get when there are so many of them? He's not going to have anything left. Kind of like Goldman's got OJ, got nothing from OJ. Exactly. That was something that I did factor into. You know what's crazy? The whole thing with OJ, I found it weird, and I just started watching some of the documentaries because I remember when the OJ thing went down. I was sitting in my mother's living room here in Philly watching the whole case play out on TV. I never will forget that because my mom was so into it. Even the trial, like we sat home during the trial and watched it. Even though I didn't understand dick what was going on, I understood whenever Johnny Cochran was up there running his mouth, talking, doing his jive spiel. Um, I know them white people was pissed when he got off. They were mad. Um, but I always found it weird that somehow or another, um, they found him not guilty of the actual murder, but found him liable for it in civil court. I always wonder why that was. And from what I'm understanding, that's part of the motivation as to why he never paid them. Because his thing was it made no sense that how he got found innocent of the actual murder, but the responsibility of it fell on his lap somehow, and that's why he never paid them. He was like, it's pointless because I didn't do anything wrong. That's how at least he saw it, from what I'm understanding. So, I mean, when you think about it, one could make that argument, but you know, he was supposed to pay and he never paid, and that's why when he died, the Goldman family all of a sudden popped out of nowhere and were like, "We're owed this, that, and the third," and it's like, how you gonna get it? Most of the stuff with OJ is now in an estate or locked up in a trust somewhere, whatever he had left. Because I'm almost certain OJ had he had some money out there. I'm pretty sure. He wasn't living broke, but I'm pretty sure he had some type of money laying out there. I mean, I'm almost certain he gets something from the NFL for royalties or whatever. I'm pretty sure they have some type of pension program for him. So I would have been like, all right, here, take that. It ain't much, but it's something. But I don't know. As far as Diddy goes, um, with these lawsuits, I honestly believe that here's the thing with the lawsuits. With the suits, the way he's suing NBC, and you're right, Simone, they're not gonna get much after everything is said and done. But here's the thing. Diddy had more money than OJ, boatloads more. Diddy had an entire corporation, you know, and for that to be the legacy, for that to be the way it is, it's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get ugly because now Diddy has not just his businesses, but he also has connections to other entities that are going to suffer big time behind these lawsuits. His publishing company, I think, has been named in one of the lawsuits. That's going to take away a huge avenue. That's where, when they say this is going to be a big loss for Diddy if he loses any one of these lawsuits, it's going to be bad. That's why he's fighting all these lawsuits now, because it's like if he loses one in court, it's going to be an ugly situation for him to have to navigate all these different cases. He's got to navigate all these different issues now with these court cases. Because if he loses the big one with Cassie and them, it's a wrap. Like, we're talking about criminal cases where if he loses this criminal case or whatever, he's done. He's done. And most of these people are going to win based on default judgments anyway. So I'm telling you, if he loses this case, see, the problem is a lot of these cases now, these lawsuits, they're praying for default judgments. Because if Diddy gets locked up and placed in prison, if he can't show up to the hearing for the lawsuit, it's an automatic default judgment depending on how they rule it. So if he loses the default judgment, they automatically get paid. The problem is, how are you mechanically going to get that money? from his estate. That's going to be the real caveat to it. Because if I'm Diddy, guess what? I'm locking everything down. I'm moving money around. I don't think they froze his assets yet. I don't imagine that they will because he's got to defend himself in court, and we got about a year to go. I'm sorry, no, we got till what is it, May? Which I'm gonna try to get down there to go to the trial, at least a couple times during the trial. I'm gonna try to go down there at least one day. I'm gonna try to get down there opening day for the trial, so I can at least cover the media presence out there, and maybe they'll let me in, and I can grab one of them famous hot dogs. um, but yeah, with this Diddy trial, it's gonna be very very telling to see where they go with this. Um, because they really gotta. Whew, boy, it's gonna be ugly. It's gonna be ugly if he loses this criminal case. If they find him guilty on any one of these cases, yeah, the Diddy's ruined. He's absolutely ruined. He loses one case, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's done. Everything that you knew is gone with Diddy. The legacy of Bad Boy will forever be tainted. And unfortunately, the legacy of Biggie will forever be connected to this, which is the saddest part of all because we knew Biggie was a wild dude, but to now be connected to this with Diddy would be just devastating to the hip hop community. I mean, this would be really really bad, but unfortunately, we are here now. Isn't Jay-Z under investigation too? Um, I believe he is, but there's some issue with the attorney. So the same attorney that's going after him is the same attorney that's going after Diddy. So as far as I'm understanding with that situation with the attorney, there's some type of impropriety that Jay-Z's lawyers are pointing out with this dude. So we're not we're holding the phone as far as Diddy right now. I mean, as far as Jay-Z right now, because from the way it looks, it looks like Jay Z is trying his very very hardest to get this situation dismissed with his name out of it. So I don't know exactly how that's going to go or look, but it is what it is. Diddy, I mean, Sean Carter, Jay Z has basically ever since they got his name on this situation, he's been trying his hardest to get his name off of it since, and they have undermined the lawyer. They have basically tried to discredit him, tried to make him look like a fraud, tried to make him look like a money grabber. Same thing with the people that was doing the whole lawsuits with WWE with the concussion deal and the CTE mess, and they basically had to sanction him and tell that lawyer, look, stop filing cases. The judge had to tell him, stop filing cases with these people that ain't got nothing to do with WWE, that don't have a direct contribution to their issue. That's basically how that is. So that's what it sounded like on this end. So I don't know how that is going to go, but I wouldn't hold my breath with Jay-Z being involved with anything right now until this trial starts. When you start hearing some of the names, I mean, don't get me wrong. From the way it sounds, Jay is definitely involved in some of this. Jay is definitely more than likely involved, allegedly, in some of these different claims. But as far as his name being involved in it, and somebody saying Sean Carter was there, or I wouldn't hold my breath. He's gonna fight tooth and nail to keep his name out of this. But when this trial actually starts, if Diddy takes the stand and starts naming names, oh, you better believe Hollywood and the music industry are going to be very interested to see how this trial plays out. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, Diddy got sued again. He's oh my god, he's gonna keep getting sued until he is completely broke and has nothing, and they find him Epstein one day. Somebody's gonna somebody's gonna put that poor guy out of his misery because he has absolutely he's gonna have nothing left by the time they are done with him. By the time the feds get their money with the search and seizures and assets and whatnot, by the time he finishes paying lawyers, by the time the lawsuits is done, yeah, it's gonna be a bad day for the diddler. Really, really bad day. Yeah, Diddy's not gonna have a really good day as far as that goes. Let's see. He was never going to pay them anyway. I was happy he was acquitted at the time, only because I was a fan. The more I researched it, I knew OJ was guilty. Yeah, it just the whole thing behind that. The whole thing behind that situation just sounded really, really messed up. And I'm actually gonna go back and watch. Um, One of my coworkers was telling me about that. These different documentaries that's out there, and I said, you know what? I never really watched the OJ one. I remember they came out with one a couple years ago, and I was like, I don't really want to see OJ. Um, but then I saw this last one a couple days ago. I think there's two of them. Netflix has one which is really, really good. I started watching it, but then I had to do something at work, so I couldn't really get into it. And I think Tubi actually has another documentary that they did, which is very similar to that one, but it covers like the one for Netflix is like an hour and some change long, and it covers the trial. And the one from Tubi, I think, covers the chase and the national coverage behind that, where they said he was in the back seat and he had the pew pew on him, and I said I would watch them both. That's gonna be I might do that tonight, and then give a little synopsis on it. But they wanted to avoid that in this case because Diddy could fly out the country and never come back like Russell Simmons did. So they actually brought up the whole video with him getting arrested where the detectives rolled up on him. He had no idea they were coming. He had no clue. They just literally just ambushed him outside his hotel. They ambushed him outside the hotel and told him, "Look, you coming with us." And they locked him up. And they didn't want him to try to pull an OJ and decide to just up and just disappear. So they wanted to get him in jail. I know they were thrilled when they got him because it was like, well, okay, we got him. You know, he wasn't. He says he wasn't going to run, but let's be honest. With the amount of money he's standing to lose, yeah, he probably was. I believe he would have ran. Honestly believe he would have flown out the country, and that would have been it for him. We would have never saw Diddy again. He would have ran Bad Boy from overseas, took his name off everything, but he still would have maintained some sort of ownership in the company or companies, and he would have, you know, kept his money and just sat back and did whatever. So yeah, that's my take on it. But yeah, Diddy's done. It's a wrap for him. Lawyers are allowed to have more than one client. What kind of impropriety? Queen Bee behind that. She's trying to protect him and that baby. Ain't you know what? I totally forgot about that whole thing with Blue Ivy. I ain't getting into all that. The last besides that child, I got social media for talking about that girl hair when they didn't do her absolutely reamed on social media. But you know what? Blue Ivy, that girl is set to do a damn thing. But go to the mailbox after she turns 16. That's all she gotta do. All she gotta do is go to the mailbox and then watch that money just pour in. Her name on song titles. They got her as a songwriter. Same thing Nas did. Actually, Nas did it first. He put his daughter on as a song. So every time